Although Sheldon Cooper's family and early years were depicted in general terms in The Big Bang Theory, their episodes provide a more nuanced understanding of them as individuals. We knew Sheldon was the bright black sheep of the family, loved his mother but denigrated her ideas, and had grown up in a religious home in Texas. This gave Young Sheldon and Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, the follow-up prequel spin-off series, plenty of opportunity to develop Sheldon's family, particularly his older brother Georgie and twin sister Missy. Compared to the distant George we meet before Sheldon's wedding in The Big Bang Theory, the upbeat young guy in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage seems like a different person. Nonetheless, Missy's adult persona closely resembles the fiery little girl with a developing rebellious tendency in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. In order to predict where the franchise still needs to go to bring George and Missy to where we know they wind up decades later, it's intriguing to revisit the brief time we see of them as adults in The Big Bang Theory. Just as confident as the witty, energetic youngster we remember from Young Sheldon is the adult Missy we meet in Season 1 of The Big Bang Theory. Even while Missy lacks Sheldon's intellectual prowess, she is incredibly intelligent in other areas and promptly corrects Sheldon when he believes he has a say in who she dates. Missy says no to both Leonard and Howard in a straightforward, courteous manner that does not allow for compromise. Sheldon uses a metaphor in which he compares himself to a cuckoo chick, a parasitic egg that is placed in a bird's nest and causes the other eggs to starve. Given how frequently Missy felt ignored as a child because of Sheldon's special needs, this now has a darker ring. Although Missy is independent without Sheldon, she asks him to be a more present brother. Compared to the cheerful Georgie we know from Young Sheldon, the adult George we meet in The Big Bang Theory Season 11, Episode 23 is far more resentful. George is resentful since he feels that his sacrifices following the passing of George Sr. were not recognized, and Sheldon left to pursue his academic career. George reinterprets Sheldon's memory of Georgie as a bully as a way to protect him from himself, much to how he would discard his Marie Curie Halloween outfit to protect Sheldon from the actual bullies. George eventually begins to feel like the affable, outgoing Georgie we know from Young Sheldon and Georgie and Mandy's first marriage after he and Sheldon reconcile before Sheldon's wedding to Amy. He claims that Sheldon has the brains, but he has the bod and the face and the hair. He is humorous, a little arrogant, and quick with a quip. His Texas drawl immediately wins Amy over, and she even wishes Sheldon sounded more like his brother. George raises a deliciously on-brand Star Wars inquiry when Mark Hamill is the unexpected wedding officiant. Why don't any of the vehicles in Star Wars have tires? This question even baffles Luke Skywalker. A lifelong tire salesman's assessment is spot on, and it serves as a witty reminder that George has a unique sense of inquiry and attention to detail. It's intriguing that George has watched every Star Wars film, suggesting that the two wildly disparate Cooper boys might have some things in common. At Sheldon's wedding in the Season 11 finale of The Big Bang Theory, Missy demonstrates how she has matured into the assertive, self-reliant lady her younger self in Young Sheldon always promised she would become. Despite the disapproval of her extremely religious mother, Mary, Missy, who is now separated from her husband and expecting her second kid, doesn't hide from her reality. Like her brothers, she does not hold to Mary's rigid ideals, and it is obvious that she is only interested in living up to her own standards. The specifics are kept ambiguous, but we don't know how Missy's life improves following her last Big Bang Theory appearance. The upcoming spin-off Stuart Fails to Save the Universe, which is set after the events of The Big Bang Theory, should provide us with more information about her story. Even though George is an adult, his playful sense of humor and easygoing charm are still present. George tries to help Leonard, Raj, and Howard identify Sheldon's boyhood friend Tam. He remembers Sheldon's little Vietnam buddy with fondness, but he has no idea why they broke up, believing he spoke with Tam for a long time during the wedding. For answers, he directs them to Sheldon's enemies list. George claims that his name will appear on the enemies list since he urinated in Sheldon's shampoo bottle. Since it was a clever hoax, he chuckles and says to keep his name on the list. It is simple to draw a distinction between the guy in The Big Bang Theory and the youngster in Young Sheldon because of Georgie's playful nature and big brother enthusiasm. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage may be the ideal Leonard and Penny substitute for the Big Bang Theory franchise after nearly 20 years, but there's a catch. Its original coupling was set from the first episode, before Bernadette Rostenstowski and Amy Farrah Fowler began their separate relationships with Sheldon and Howard. Leonard and the first version of Penny had a romantic relationship even in the first pilot of The Big Bang Theory. Their relationship developed over the course of the entire length of the show. They were discovered to be expecting their first child during the Big Bang Theory conclusion. The bond between Leonard and Penny was not completely exploited in later seasons of the nerd-centric sitcom, to be sure. As Sheldon and Amy's personal and professional relationship progressed, the emphasis switched to them. After being married, they were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. At this point, Leonard and Penny began to argue about having children, which they ultimately did. Leonard and Penny will always remain the Big Bang Theory's greatest romantic couple, and Chuck Lorre may have found a replacement after nearly 20 years, even as Sheldon and Amy have emerged as the show's archetypal couple. The ideal Leonard and Penny substitute is somehow found in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage episode 15, Goddess of the Music Store. New love pairs who appeared to be on par with the Big Bang Theory's original love team have been introduced numerous times during the comedy franchise's history. Although baby Cece's parents have been a wonderful couple, they don't have the same vibe as Leonard and Penny, even if Georgie and Mandy seemed like the ideal replacement. Nevertheless, when their romance starts in the Young Sheldon sequel, Connor and Chloe do. To be honest, Connor and Chloe don't appear to be on the same level as Leonard and Penny. In a technical sense, they are only supporting characters to the main characters. Nevertheless, the tension and chemistry between Connor and Chloe so far are so evocative of Leonard and Penny's early days on The Big Bang Theory. They have a developing romance that is quite simple to support. This is the first time since Penny and Leonard that supporting a romance feels so natural, even though the universe has seen a lot of pairings in the past. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more videos.